And just like that, we are back with another episode of Unmuted. My name is Felicia Franklin, and I want to thank you for tuning in to Unmuted Season 4, Episode number 4. So, before I get started, I want to make sure that everyone can hear me and see me okay. So, if I could please get a thumbs up in the comments or a yes or okay. And I want to get us started with tonight's topic. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you for those that have shared. Thank you. Okay, so we're running a couple of different platforms here. Thank you. Thank you for the okay that you can see me and you can hear me. Again, my name is Felicia Franklin, and thank you all for tuning in for tonight's episode of Unmuted. What is unmuted? Unmuted is simply what it says. It is a safe space to unmute. Life can cause one to want to be muted. There are situations that we go through in our lives, and I often call those life relationships because life happens to us all, and we have to have some way um, to release. If not, it'll get us stuck in a certain state. Depression can cause you to be muted. Divorce can cause you to be muted. Relationships can cause you to be muted. Whether the relationship it was a marriage or just a long term intimate relationship or a lack thereof. People being lonely. Oppression can cause you to be muted. And one thing about unmuted is this is a safe space for you to, really get an understanding that life happens to us all. We all go through situations in our life. And I believe that when we go through something and we grow through that thing, that it's not meant for us to just go through it alone, make it through, and just keep it in silence. So I believe that it's meant for us to help others go through that are going through, grow through their situations and get through them as well. Um, it could be anything because life happens. It could be suicide, attempted or suicide. This is the month of September is Suicide Awareness Month, so we want to be mindful of that. Ask someone if you feel that they are showing the signs of harming themselves. Care for them, escort them to safety. Be there. A simple smile, a simple "How are you?" Just being that shoulder for someone to lean on because you never know what a person is going through. We all go through, so just being that something that someone else needs, because we want to keep in mind that when it's our turn or when we went through whatever it was that we may have needed, let's be that to someone else. If you know you needed a shoulder to cry on, be that for someone else. If you know you just needed a friend just to be there, maybe not say anything. When you get through your situation, maybe just being that for someone else. That's helping someone get through their situation. That's helping someone grow through their situation. And that's why I say it's not meant for us to just go through things in life and not help someone else through. I went through a divorce. I know what it's like. I was adopted. I know what that is like. There's so many different things that I've gone through in my life that I made it through. Some of the things that I've gone through in my life, I know someone has taken their life behind it because they just did not have that capacity. Everyone doesn't have the same coping mechanism. So, who am I to just sit silent when I know I can be that light to help someone else go through their problems as well? So, tonight's topic is we're going to have a guest on. Her name is Traci Waters, Tracy Dunlap Waters. And our topic tonight is a mother's love, continuing the legacy. So, on last week we had Kendra Traywick. She was talking about it was mommy issues, beating the odds. Being a mom with mommy issues and beating the odds. We're kind of keeping along that same path, but tonight's topic is from a different standpoint. This is a mother's love. and continuing a legacy? How do you continue on when that one you love is no longer there, the one that nurtured you, the one that cared for you? How do you continue on? Because someone gets stuck in that state. Sometimes people have a hard time grieving and getting through a loss. I'm not going to say getting over a loss, but getting through a loss. So tonight we're going to have on Traci Waters, and she's going to talk about, we're going to have a conversation about Mary Dunlap, which is her mother. Some of the family's probably going to tune in. She was like a mother to me when I needed one. I was here alone, just my son and I, and he was little, and she was like a grandmother to him. We have had people in our lives that have really taken us up under their wing and really loved us. And she means, and I'm not going to say meant, but she still means a lot to all of us. Now, with today being September the 11th, today is the 20th anniversary of the 9/11, September 11, 2001. So I do want to show my respects, especially being military as well, show my respects to those that lost their lives in the attacks on 9/11. Um, Miss Dunlap was also a retired, she was retired military as well as her husband. So I will put a couple of pictures up of them in recognition of 9/11 on tonight. And we want to have a moment of silence for those that have that lost their lives in the attack on 9/11. All right, so we are going to get started and we're going to bring our guest on. She's already waiting in queue. And like I said, tonight we're going to have a conversation. Um, Please feel free to comment on whatever platform that you're watching from as we have this conversation on tonight. We're going to show a few pictures. We're going to have a few things. And I'm going to let Traci come on and she's going to introduce herself in her own way because I do believe no one can talk about you better than you can talk about you because you know yourself better than anyone else does. Hey, Traci.
Hey, Felicia. Hey, got
How
my
are you?
favorite girl up there, huh?
I do. I do. So this is everyone. This is Traci Waters, and the photo that is beside her is a Miss Mary Dunlap. There is no one like Hot Pants.
Hot pants.
And this was her 70th birthday party, correct?
Correct.
And she, as you can see, she was the life of the party, and she was definitely in her happy space.
Absolutely. I love when we had that party. We were planning it. She said that she wanted us to play Bad Mama Jamma when she walked into the room. So you know she's the life of the party.
Of
You're
course, of
70 years
course.
old, and Bad Mama Jamma is the song you want to hear when you walk into the room. So, you know, absolutely. That's my girl right there. So
Absolutely. I completely agree with that. All right. So where did you go? Okay. Now, I want you to introduce yourself. So I did let everyone know your name, but let's talk a little bit about, you and who you are.
who am I? Interesting. Well, I am Mary's oldest daughter, her oldest child. We have a large family, so there's seven of us, and then we have some bonus siblings as well. So it's probably nine of us all together. So I come from a great big family. Both my parents retired from the military, as you mentioned. So I was kind of the third parent in the family because I was the oldest. So, you know, we grew up in that really strong, connected family because we had to just take care of each other, you know. So in a lot of ways, I was a third parent to my younger siblings. I'm recently married. So we've been married about 3 years now. We got five adult children between us, and we now have five grandbabies with the addition of the
Oh,
youngest who was born in May of 21. That's Miss Rory Daniela. So, yeah, just kind of living life and, you know, going through and enjoying my career, enjoying this place that I've gotten to in life. It's lovely being an empty nester. That's a lot of fun. So we're enjoying that. And just kind of starting on this new adventure. I appreciate you having me on. The whole book writing thing kind of started, when we lost Mama, and just kind of coming to terms with a lot of emotions that I was dealing with. So life is good, missing my mom every day, of course,
Mhm.
but overall, that's who I am. I'm a wife, a mama, a sister, a daughter, and a friend, and I try to take care of the people who are in my life who need taken care of. So that's me.
So we're gonna start with a mama because Miss Sydney Page says hello, ladies.
Hey,
So we
sis.
have a few people saying hello on one platform. Good evening. Hey, Felicia is on another platform. Thank you all for tuning in. So I want to make sure I tell everyone hey, and I do see your comments. Keep them coming. Okay, so that's being a mom and Sydney Page. I want to get started with the book.
Yes.
All right. So everyone, this is the book that Tracy wrote, um, The Journey to Baby Angel. I will make sure I post the links and everything, and it will be on the show when you come back for the replay. I'm
Okay.
making it, pin in while we're still on, but it would also be on our YouTube page in the details and on the podcast. So, Tracy, getting started with the journey of Baby Angel. Let's start with what inspired you to write.
Wow. Well, what inspired me to write this story was, honestly, it was the grief of losing my mother. So, it's obvious you're a friend. So everybody who's tuning in knows you're a family friend. You're sissy to us. You know what I'm saying? You're part of us. So you know what happened. But just so your audience knows, we lost my aunt Netta in October of 2020, and it was a shock to everybody. We weren't expecting it. She had not been sick. And I got a call one Sunday afternoon, and, my aunt Nadine told me that she had passed away. And of course, my aunt Nadine was distraught. The whole entire family was devastated. And just before my aunt Nadine called, I got two phone calls from my mother, and I heard nothing on the other end. Like, I could see the phone and it said, Mama. I answered. She said nothing. Twice that happened. Then the third call was my aunt Nadine, and she told me what was going on. So I realized in that moment my mother was probably in shock, and she dialed me twice, but she said nothing. So it took my aunt Nadine to get me posted about what was going on. The whole family was devastated. So that was the beginning of, a period of time that has been incredibly difficult for the entire family, for the Dunlap family, the Jackson family, and the Davis family, my auntie's children. So when she passed away, I think things just started to shift for my mother.
Mhm.
And part of me feels like heartbreak played a role in her death, because she passed away in December of 20. So the journey of baby Angel was born out of my heartbreak that she wasn't here for the baby, to see the baby be born. Because Sydney found out she was pregnant in September. And the first thing I thought was, how am I going to get Mama to Norfolk, Virginia to see this baby be born? There was nothing else in my mind. I was already planning it out. I'm like, okay, we're going to have to get us a Airbnb. We're going to have to fly. I'm thinking all these things in my head, because there was no way that she wasn't going to be there to witness this baby be born. I was going to make sure that that happened. Nothing in my mind ever told me different. So when she passed away so suddenly, and we had just lost my auntie, and then Mama passed away, I'm telling you, like you mentioned a minute ago, how you can get stuck in that grief.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness, it felt like quicksand for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like, just pulling you down. Like, it's bad enough we lost Aunt Netta, then we turned around and, lost our mama as well. And it was so much for all of us to handle. And that's what the journey of baby Angel, how it was born. It was born out of me finding a way to say, you know what, Tracy, she's not physically here with us, but you know better. She's here.
Right.
She's here, and she knows these babies, because we actually had three babies born since Mama passed away. So she passed away in December. Ashton had a baby born in January. And then Andre had a baby born in May, a couple weeks before Sydney's baby was born at the end of May. So we've actually had three grandbabies born
Mhm.
within the 6 months following my mother's death. And Debbie, my twin sister, made the joke. She said, "You know what? Mama's too nosy not to know what's going on. She's too nosy not to have been there with these babies." And that's where my book came from. I decided, you know what? We're going to let baby Angel go along her path, and along this journey she's going to meet all the beautiful women in our family who passed away many moons ago, and she's going to get to know them, and they're going to get to love on her and touch on her before she's finally born to Sydney and myself. So that's how the book came about. And plus I had turned 50. I was just in a whole emotional place. I'm like, oh my gosh, everything is just, it was a lot.
Yeah,
So battling with the happiness of the baby, the heartbreak of losing mama, and then having that milestone birthday, that combination of things just
yeah,
made me think, what am I doing? What am I doing? What do I want to say? And I wanted something out there in the world that had her name on it so the whole world would know that there was
yeah.
a beautiful woman named Mary Dunlap out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to now let's see. Okay, so I'm trying to get this thing together, girl, and show these photos.
I love
All
it.
right, we are winning. Let's just keep our fingers crossed that we continue to win. All right.
Absolutely.
So I want you to talk about so the picture on the bottom right up under you, that is young Mary.
Yes, young Mary.
That is young. So as you all can see from the photo, and thank you for providing the photos. But that is the young Mary J. The young anime.
Absolutely.
And the other
Absolutely.
picture is the picture of her. She's in the middle, and they were singing, and her sisters. So now let's talk about because the topic is a mother's love continuing the legacy. Well, let's talk about the beginning of a legacy because it started with these young ladies. And you and I had a conversation, and we talked about their book is now an award-winning book,
Yes.
and we also talked about the stories in the book and where your book is now in the library and they're
Yep.
paying homage to the book. And it's also is it in the city's archives or?
Yes, in Hopkinsville. Yeah, so the picture you see there with my mom and her sisters, my mom is from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. All of us are from Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And my mom loves her hometown. Loves her hometown. Proud to be from Hopkinsville. And every year we go home, that is a scene you would see. Anytime we go home for a reunion, they're going to get out there on the street. She's going to be in the middle of everything, and they're going to be singing and dancing. They have that whole we are family kind of moment, saying get some sister sledge going on. And she's going to be singing something because she was so proud to be from Hopkinsville. So what I did was when I got the book done, I reached out to the library there in Hopkinsville, and they did. They accepted the book and put it on their shelves. And the young lady who assisted me said that, you know what, we could even put it in the genealogy department. And I didn't even think of that. I just wanted them to put it on the shelves because I know she was so proud of being from Hopkinsville. And when the lady suggested that, I'm like, yeah, that'd be wonderful, since, the people depicted in that story, they are real people,
Right.
That's my grandmama, my great great grandmama, all of those, women, except for my mother, are laid to rest right there in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. So I was excited that they offered up that option. And I think that would make my mom excited. You know what I'm saying? I think that would make her happy to know that there's a story there just for her in her hometown. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we had a we had a conversation a little earlier um, be- regarding how some of the family members are doing, and everyone grieves differently, and why this is so important. And thank you for your yes. Thank you saying even though it was probably 12 o'clock at night when I sent you the message originally asking, but it was really just really on my heart to do this because she meant and means so much to so many people.
mm-hmm.
I mean, her love was really unconditional.
Yeah.
And, I want, we briefly touched on, how different, family members are handling, and are coping with the loss. And we talked a little bit about you yourself, um, because you such a close knit family. And I want you to talk a little bit more about um, how you're continuing the legacy in your own way.
And it's such a challenge. In my own way, what I've tried my best to do is continue to love my siblings, my aunties and uncles, love them as unconditionally as my mother did. Of course, I'm not her though. I'm not her. I will never be able to replace her. Nobody will be able to replace her. So it's a challenge, to be there and to fill those shoes. Like you said, she literally really loved unconditionally. There was very little anybody could do, and she would just be done with them. That was never a thing for her. She might tell you were wrong now, but
Right.
she wasn't going to be done with you. She'd have some colorful words for you if you did something too crazy, but she never just got rid of anybody because she always loved, and she would defend the people she loved to to the end. She would defend
Right.
them. And so I've tried to find my place in providing that same unconditional love and support to my siblings and to anybody who needs it in my arms reach, to my dad even. You know what I'm saying? His world has changed more than any of ours, of course, but he's holding tight. You know what I'm saying? He's steady and doing well. Yep, there he goes, Mr. Dale Dunlap. So he's doing well as can be expected under the circumstances. So I'm trying to find my way and still be Tracy. You know what I'm saying? But be what they need in the moment when those breakdowns happen, especially,
Mhm.
because like you said, all kinds of stressors happen every day. You know what I mean? And then you put the stressor of grief on top of it, and the fact that the first person you would call in these difficult circumstances is not here anymore. you know
Right.
the first day I was in my car after mama passed away, and every time I get in my car, my habit was to call her. She's the first person I call when I got in my car. At the end of the day, coming home from work, she's the first person I call. And the first day I got in my car and go and couldn't call her, it just felt like a whole meltdown about to occur. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, oh
Right.
my gosh, I got to pull myself together. Um, it's just been a very difficult time. So it's going to be a balance of carrying on what she would have done, but also carrying it on in my own way because I can't replace her. My life is different than hers. I'm not mama. I'm not the mother to my siblings. I'm their sister. And we all got to find the right way to move forward so that we can still be productive in our own lives. You know what I'm saying? And we all got to grow up a little differently. When my
Mhm.
mom's mother passed away, she was probably a little bit older than me. She might have been in her mid 50s, somewhere between 50 and 55 probably. And
Mhm.
she told me, she said, I feel like an orphan. I'm like, Mama, how could you feel like an orphan as old as you are? But she meant that.
Yeah.
And it's because of that hole that was left. And like you said, that legacy. Where do I get this from? Everything that mama left behind. Who's going to give me that love now? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's been a little bit of a challenge. We all kind of scattered a little bit. A couple of my
Mhm.
brothers grew up and kind of went and did their own thing, and they're making their own lives and they're growing up because in some ways her love kept them close. Her
Right.
love kept them right here and kept them kind of protected. And without her being here, they got to figure some things out on their own. But
Mhm.
I'm proud of what they're doing. They're getting it out there. They're figuring it out. You know what I'm saying? And making some
Absolutely.
things happen. So, but yeah, just trying to love them the way she would have, but in my own way, because I have my own life circumstances that I have to take into consideration.
Right. Right. And we have to um, give ourselves time to heal, ourselves time to grieve, and then we have to learn to protect our own peace because,
Absolutely. And yeah,
yeah, because everyone doesn't, as I mentioned earlier, everyone doesn't have the same coping mechanism. So everyone is not going to, you can't tell someone how to grieve and how long to grieve.
yeah,
It's just continuing to be there for them in their own way. Um, I want to talk about, let's talk about your angel.
There she is. That Grammy's baby right there. Look at that face.
Yes.
This baby is so precious. So her name is Rory Daniela, and she and Sydney lived in Norfolk, Virginia. Sydney joined the Navy not too long after she graduated from high school, and she decided to stay in Norfolk. She finished her enlistment, and so she and her husband have now got their own little home together. And actually, my son Marcus lives there with them as well. But this is the baby. This is a baby that I know Mama was with in heaven. I know she was. She was with all three of them. Like I said, we had three babies born. Sierra and baby X, as they call him, and
Mhm.
Rory. And I have no doubts that my mama was singing and dancing with them in heaven before they were born to us. I have no doubts about it. And Sydney will even joke about it. She's like, you know what? She'll look up and she'll start dancing and doing that little dip dance like babies do. And I can't wait to get my hands on her because we're going to make sure she knows all about the Temptations, make sure she watches some Five Heartbeats. I'm going to make sure all of those things that my mama would have wanted
You're
for
going to
her to
continue
see
the
that mama would
legacy.
have shared. I'm gonna make sure she sees all of it. We're gonna have all that time together and make sure my baby knows just what her great grandmama would have shared with her as well.
And that's continuing a legacy.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I
So,
can't wait.
um, actually, Miss Page, as Mama Dunlap calls her, Miss Page, she's actually coming. She says she's happily married,
Hmm.
but she also mentioned that you can't pour from an empty cup. And that is so true. You
Absolutely.
can't give someone something that you do not have yourself. So
Mhm.
that goes back to getting whole, healing and becoming whole yourself and protecting your peace in order, becoming whole and healing so you can help someone, but then having that line that you have to draw to protect your own peace as well. Um,
Absolutely. We
and
have
that,
figured that out. Yeah, we figured that out. We want to support each other through the grief process, but there's also a piece of it that is internal to us ourselves. We can
mhm,
only do it alone. You know, there's there's just part of that process you can't do with another person, because it's so
right,
personal to you. And I think you're absolutely right. You got to protect your peace because I can't be helpful to somebody else if I'm, over here drowning in my own heartbreak, got to pull
right.
myself together.
And then when you do, I often say when we go through something and we grow through something, I feel that it's meant for us to help someone else get through the same thing and be there for them. But then that is that line that you have to draw, because you cannot compromise your growth if they're not ready. You can be there,
Absolutely.
and it's all about balance. And it's not just one family; it's all families.
Absolutely.
So tell me something. Um, how did how did baby Rory help you heal?
Oh my gosh. Just I don't know, just her existence, honestly, just the fact that I had something else to focus on, you
Hmm.
know. That's on that whole 6 months. So losing mama in December, but then because I was actually in Norfolk when she had her health incident. So I was in Norfolk. We had just found out the sex of the baby. And Sydney told her that she was gonna get one of those little stuffed animals with the baby's heartbeat in it.
Hmm.
And so that's all mama kept telling me. She's like, make sure you don't keep my animal. I know Sydney's sending me a stuffed animal. Miss Page, I know she's sending it. I'm like, I'm gonna bring it to you. I'm not gonna keep it. So I kind of teased her about that. So we found out that we were gonna have a girl. We got the little stuffed animal. Um, and in the middle of that night, I actually had a dream about my auntie who passed away. And I believe with everything in me, Felicia, she came to me. She came to me to let me know that mama was gonna be okay. And I didn't know in the moment. But in the dream, Aunt Netta was in the middle of this room, and there was a window on the far side of her, and I was standing close to the door. And in the dream, I felt like my brother was on the other side of the window, and my auntie, who had just passed away, she looked at me with this really sweet smile, and the feeling I had was that your brother's over there, and he needs to get inside through this window. But Netta was like, "No, I'm gonna take care of him. You go back and take care of everybody else." That's the
Hmm.
feeling I had. but that was my brother. In my heart, in that dream, it felt like that was a brother who was on the other side of that window.
But it
And I
was
promise you, within an hour, Ashton called me. He video chatted me in the middle of the night, and he says, "Traci, I think I just saw Nene take her last breath." And I didn't really put it together until later, because of the shock of it all. And
right.
then I remembered the dream. I said, "You know what? Auntie came. Auntie came to me."
It
And
wasn't your brother, it was your mother.
yep. So she came to me and let me know I got her. You know what I'm saying? I'm here with her. I have her. She's okay. So Rory gave me something else to focus on, because the way my grief was manifesting, every time I had a quiet moment, it was in my head, and I just wanted to cry. And it came in time my husband told me I needed to go talk to somebody. He suggested I go find some counseling because I couldn't compose myself. Um, I would go to work and be professional because I'm always going to do it. But, there were many days at work where I'm like, none of this matters to me. I don't care to be here. I don't care what none of y'all have to say. I didn't want to be bothered with none of it.
Yeah.
And it was just really, really hard. So any quiet moment, my mind started racing, racing, racing. And then I just ended up crying and just, couldn't pull it together. So Rory gave me something to look forward to, because, that was mama's thing. Something
Yeah.
to look forward to. Every time one holiday was over, she planned it for the next holiday because she's looking forward to what's coming up next. It's something to look forward to. And that's what I called Rory after mama died. She's my something to look forward to. And
Absolutely.
that helped me to get through and kept the sadness at bay, because as heartbroken as I am that mama's not here, how can you not love that face? Look at her.
Right.
She's precious. And it's been a wonderful year, welcoming the baby and seeing Sydney grow as a mother.
Right,
That's a
right.
beautiful thing
I
as well.
know she was little. I know, I know. So let me tell you something that's really crazy. I'm gonna tell you something that was really, really crazy. So you were stating the comment, Rory is my something to look forward to. And I am so serious. At the exact time that you said it out of your mouth, Debbie she posted the comment. At the exact same time you were saying it, it popped on the screen. Now, if that's not twin sisters for you,
It
so
is
I don't
twin
know if
sister.
you can see the comment there.
I do.
Okay, Rory's my sister, something to look forward to. At the exact same time you were saying it, it popped on the screen. So,
I love it.
um, Mama Dunlap is definitely in the midst.
Oh yeah.
Um, I want to, I know it may get a little emotional and may get, a little hard, and some of the family members may or come on and may go off. And it means a lot to me, um, to have you on, to talk about her, to honor her, to share the book and the things that you are doing to keep her legacy alive, because I know how much she meant and she means to the family. Because she means so much to Titus and I. My son was a baby; he was
Mhm,
little,
mhm.
when we met you all, and she she just took us like we were her own.
Absolutely.
She was like, "This is your sister." Oh, I'm your sister.
That's exactly what it was.
And this is my grandbaby.
Yep.
I think what hurt me the most was she told me, she said, "I need to see you and my baby. I need to see you and my baby." And I said, "We're coming. We're coming."
Mhm.
But I allowed life to happen so much that we didn't get there to
Yeah.
see her
Yeah.
before she got sick.
I'm sorry.
So
My
that
mom
is,
loves you though.
I
You know
know,
that. You
but
already know it.
I do, but it just, excuse me, it's just really one of those things that you have to take, and you can't take life for granted.
You
You know
cannot.
what I mean? You just really cannot take life for granted. Because she told me twice.
Mhm.
She was like, "I need you. She said, I need you to come down here. I need to see you and my baby."
Yeah.
And I said, "I'm coming." And she told me twice. And we had planned to go. and something came up. But again, I allowed life to happen, and you can't get that back.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like, again, in hindsight, I almost feel like she may have known something was going on.
Mhm.
Um, so I left the Thursday before to go to Norfolk to see Sydney. And um, I always go see her before I travel out of town, you know. So I always go stop and see her and spend some time with her before I go out of town. So me and Marcus went to go visit her probably Wednesday afternoon or Thursday afternoon, whichever, and spent a few minutes with her. So we parked in front of her house. We had some time with her, gave her a hug. I love you, mama. You know, she had a doctor's appointment the following week. So we're talking about that a little bit. Um, and we're talking about the stuffed animal, you know, all those little things. So we hug each other. I love you. Me and Marcus are going to go. So we leave her house, and I kind of turned around to go back the other way in my car. And when I turned around, her house was over here. And when I tell you, Felicia, she's in the door just like this, just looking, intentionally waving at me, you know? So she
Yeah.
got up and hugged us goodbye. And she came to the door and was still watching us as we drove away. And that wasn't something she always did, you
No,
know?
that's
And
not
so
something
me
that
and
you would
Marcus,
normally do.
after the fact, again, that thought was in my head. I'm like, did she know something was going on? You know,
Mhm.
did she know something was going on? Because at my aunt Netta's funeral, my mom was never a huge crier. Not that she never cried, but she wasn't a big crier. And I
Right.
did not see a lot of tears at my aunt Netta's funeral, but I did see a moment where I could see um, the strength that she did have just kind of give way for a moment.
Yeah.
Um, we were going to view the body one last time, and she and my aunt Lisa were walking up the pew. And so, as a niece, I was just now coming up to go view the body, but I saw that she kind of had a misstep when she was walking down the pew. So I went to go get her, and me and Lisa walked her all the way down and sat her down. And she got up on the edge of the seat just like this, and she leaned forward and she said, "That's Netta, ain't it?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, that's Netta." You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you could see it in her face. You know what I'm saying? And I do think a little bit of heartbreak played a role in her leaving this world. I think the shock of it just was more than her little body could handle. You know,
Yeah.
I really, really do. Because you know how close they were. You know, they sit on
Right.
that phone and gossip all day. Between her, they had a whole chain going on. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Lisa called
Right.
somebody, then they called somebody else, then Nadine gets called, and Bob and B. And before you know it, the whole chain has, you know, everybody knows what's going on because as many of them as there are, they're that close, you know. And I
Yeah.
think that just devastated her, and it just took the wind out right out of her sails, you know. So whatever health issues she had, on top of that shock, the shock and grief of losing Aunt Netta, I think it was just more than she could handle. I really do. But I feel like she may have known something was going on, especially when you say stuff like that. Like she
Yeah.
was requesting y'all to come
Right.
so she could
Right.
see you. I didn't know that. But
Yeah.
when I hear stuff like that, it really makes me feel like she knew something was going on.
Right. And that's immediately what I thought when you I got the message, and I was like, immediately I was like, and I told my son, and he was like, we didn't go. And I was like, no,
Yeah.
we didn't go. And it was as if she knew and we needed to get there to see her. It's
Mm-hmm.
almost like you're saying your last goodbyes without knowing you're saying your
But you
last
know, she
goodbye.
always says she wanted 70 years.
She did.
She
And
always said
she had her 70th birthday bash
she
in
did.
Mary J fashion.
She did. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I want to, I want to hone in on something a little bit. Her and her sisters, her family, they were very close knit. They were a very, very close knit family. And it was a lot of them through everything. They were. But when we talk about continuing a legacy, look at the legacy that she left. What they had, she instilled it in you all because the family is so close knit, regardless of what may, happen or
Mhm.
whatever, because family is family,
Right.
such a close knit family, and bringing it back together and, reeling it in. And sometimes situations can cause us to grow up. Um, but everyone in their own seems to be continuing the legacy of Mary J. Dunlap.
Hmm.
I watched the family. Even with Debbie. Now it would have been hilarious if we had got her on as well tonight. But she is watching. But just everyone coping and making their way through. Some a little quicker than others, but continuing to keep the legacy alive. Even the grandchildren, because
Hmm.
it hit everyone so hard. I was worried about Andre. Um,
Yeah. Andre, I mean, like you said, everybody took it hard, but Andre and I were actually there at the last moment. So I didn't think I would be able to handle being there in her last moment. So I had chosen not to go to the hospital that morning because unfortunately we had to make the decision to take her off the machine. But good for us, I'm sure she said it to you too. Don't be having me plugged up to no machine. You know what I'm saying? She's
He did
very
not want to
clear.
be a vegetable.
She's very clear about that.
Yeah.
So we were able to make the decision with no family issues. We knew what she wanted. But I didn't think I'd be able to handle it. So Mama and Daddy and Ronnie were up there with her and Andre. And they took her off the machine. And Ronnie told me, he said the doctors expected she would pass immediately, but she did not.
Mm.
So a couple of hours go by and I'm sitting at her house and I'm like, is she waiting for me? You know, is she waiting for me?
Mhm.
So I go up there. Cordell called, and I go up there and I tag team with Ronnie. So
Mhm.
Ronnie and Cordell come downstairs, and I go upstairs, and Andre is there. So when I walk into the room, Andre's playing some music for her as he always would. Sugar Pie up there playing his music. And when I walk into the room, he was on this side of her. So I walked around the other side, and her head was leaned over like this. And I kissed her right there. And she raised her head up, Felicia, and laid it back down. And that was it. So a few minutes after I get in the room, the nurse comes in and I could tell she was checking her pulse and checking her heart. And she kind of looks at me. She says, I think she's gone. And she looked at me. She said, did you just get here? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, she must have been waiting for you.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh my gosh, I don't believe this is I don't believe this just happened. But I was thankful she let me have that last moment. You know what I'm saying? She gave me something I didn't think I could handle. I didn't know that I needed, but I think I would have been heartbroken had I not been there for that last moment. But when I tell you, she took her last breath within minutes of me walking into that room. And I've apologized to her so many times for not coming sooner, but my
Mhm.
heart wouldn't let me. You know what I'm saying? I had to get up the nerve because I just didn't think I could handle seeing it. Um, but in hindsight, I'm glad she let me have that moment. Me and Andre were the last two there, and Andre is still very heartbroken.
Yeah.
All of us are, but Andre, he feels very deeply for his Nini. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
So it's been a struggle, and after a year and a half, some days it doesn't feel any easier. The
Mhm.
I keep seeing the new preview for the new Little Mermaid movie.
Mhm.
You keep seeing that the little girl singing that pretty little song, and every time I see it, I think about Mama because I'm like, oh, that's something we would have watched together.
Yeah.
And I saw that preview twice, and by the third time, I couldn't even look at it. I'm like, nope, I'm getting ready to have a moment, so I'm like, I gotta
Yeah.
turn this off, because it's still there. You know what I'm saying? The hurt is still there. I'm able to handle it better most days, but some
Mhm.
days it gets to me, and it almost got me yesterday. So. He's doing good. I appreciate you saying that. But yeah,
Yeah.
Andre and Nene, that's like peanut
Yes.
butter and jelly right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes. They were. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Um, I'm really, I'm really happy that you were able to come on and share as much as you have because I know I know it's been tough. I was waiting to post that one. Um,
That's
um,
young Mary J
I
there
don't
too.
think I don't think anyone I don't think anyone that I know out of everyone that I know, I don't think anyone was as excited for me to join the Air Force as she was. Hands down, I don't think anyone
Oh
was
wow.
as excited. That just lit up her when I told her I was like, I'm leaving. Where you going? I'm going to the Air Force. That was just
She's proud of you, girl. She loved you just like she loved one of us. You know what I'm saying? So, I appreciate you having me on. After I got the book done, you were one of the first people I was hoping I would get to be a part of your podcast for this reason. You know, a podcast is cool to kind of get your story out there, but a podcast is somebody who loves the person you're talking about as much as you do, you know, as a whole nother level. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes,
I appreciate you having me on because you know how special she is, you know. And I
yes,
appreciate what you
yes,
said
I do.
too about speaking in present tense, you know. She still loves us. We
Yes,
still love her, you
absolutely.
know. She's still super spectacular and, you know, just beautifying the world at this point. You know what I'm
You
saying?
should still hot pants.
She's still hot pants, absolutely. She's not here with us, but she's still hot pants. She is. Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you and the things that you're doing, and you're finding your way to continue on, to cope, to heal, and to continue her legacy. So, Mary J. Books, you chose to name the company Mary J. Books.
Absolutely. Mama always had a fascination with writing a book.
Hmm.
And that's something that me and my aunt Lisa might talk about because our family history, our granddaddy used to always tell wild stories. You know, we're growing up, and you know, we have some really interesting stories that we could tell from our family. We always talked about it, but we never quite jumped into it. So when I got to the place of doing Baby Angel, a couple of other stories kind of just fell out of me. And so yeah, we might get around to doing something with the family, with my aunt Lisa especially. But
Hmm.
the one that I'm about to publish here shortly should be out. Um, is Big Fella and Little TJ, and that actually is going to be following my husband and one of our grandbabies. So, like you said, it's kind of got me to a place where I'm just kind of, you know, finding a whole new thing here lately. It's not something I really thought hard about
Hmm.
before Mama passed away. It would be like a fleeting thought, but it's like all of a sudden, you know, when those things come to you, they just do. And
Absolutely.
one day I was listening because this is TJ. So he is what, our fourth grandbaby,
Hmm.
the number four out of the five. So TJ calls my husband Fella. That's his granddaddy name. He calls him Fella. He doesn't call him granddaddy. He calls him Fella. So Big Fella and Little TJ is the name of the book, and that is following along in a conversation between Fella and TJ because
Hmm.
every day TJ calls. He's on the iPad. Gary's on his phone, and he's talking about going hunting. And they go back and forth and they talk about what they're going to hunt and all of these different things. And I'll be sitting in the house some days listening to this end of the conversation, and I'll text his mama, Tia. And I'm texting Tia. I'm like, do you hear these two? Like they are, you know, they are really going at it right now because, you know, it's like a little version and a big version of the same person. And it is the cutest thing ever. So this is the first illustration from that story, and I'm super excited. You know, we're, you know, gonna tweak the illustrations and whatnot. But this was the first color illustration I got, and
Hmm.
since I was going to be here today, I did want to share that. That should be coming out probably November. I think all of the illustrations will be done, and it'll be out in production at that point in time. But I'm excited about that because it's very much my husband and the grandbaby going back and forth talking about what they're going to do, what they're going to hunt. So I love the idea of putting our babies in books. You know what I'm saying? So they can pick it up and see their own little faces.
I love that you're doing this, and I love that you're continuing on a legacy in your own way, because it's all about family, and that is what Mary J was all about. She was
All about it.
all things family, and so I love that in your own way you're continuing a legacy, and it's still all things family. You're just doing it the Tracy way, um,
Exactly.
and who knew Unmuted was gonna get an exclusive? I mean.
That you did. We
So
did.
we got the exclusive look of the cover, the illustration for your new book.
Yeah.
And that for those that did not see it, this is okay. So I still have Tracy's comment. Let me take that down so I can put The Journey to Baby Angel by Traci Waters is out now. You can get this book on Amazon. I'll make sure I put the links in. It will be on the podcast details and the YouTube details as well. I'll make sure I pin those in the comments after the show. Um, for anyone that watches the replay or they want to patronize and get the book, congratulations. This
Thank
book is an award winning book. So tell us about the award. I do have the press release. So, of course, I'm going to pin that in there as well. And I'll probably put it. A snippet of it on the page as well because I'm really proud of you. But let's talk about this award that you just received.
Well, all of this is so new to me, and I'm growing with learning different availability of those types of award programs and whatnot. So I had actually entered into two different contests that I was hoping to, be notarized in one way or another. So I didn't hit the first one, but the second one is the American Book Fest, and so
Mm-hmm.
you just have to, send in, choose which category. And this is I think this is the seventh year they've done this particular award category. And I hadn't really even thought of it as a religious book, as crazy as that sounds, because it does talk about heaven. There is that religious, spiritual aspect to it. But honestly, that was not my initial approach to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was looking around and I saw the category. I'm like, oh, that does actually fit this category. Let me go ahead and try. And I got notified, just a few days ago that my book placed as a finalist. Someone else won the overall category, but I was one of the five finalists, to be acknowledged, for the story. So I was excited about that. It's always cool to get acknowledged for something, for somebody else to say, you know what, that's a good job, especially something that's so personal, to me.
Right.
Like I said, those are my people. When my family member open those pages, they know those faces, they know everybody
Absolutely.
who's there. And they have memories of most of those women, and it's important to me that my story is well received. Because honestly, I think it can be helpful. I think that it can be therapeutic for an adult. Honestly, even though it's
Mm-hmm.
a children's book, I think it can be therapeutic for an adult who's experiencing a similar loss like we did. I think it can be good for a child who might have lost a parent or a grandparent, kind of talk
Mm-hmm.
about what they think heaven may look like, what their parents or grandparents may be doing, the people that they've lost, again,
Absolutely.
they're not here physically with us, but they may be up there fishing with my grandmama, you know what I'm saying? Just
Absolutely.
still enjoying their new existence, but they're not here with us. But that doesn't mean that they don't love us and we can't continue to love them.
Absolutely.
So it's really a good feeling to be acknowledged for something that you put your heart into. And so maybe I'll see if I'll enter into additional, contests in the future and see what that holds. But that was an exciting thing to see. So yeah,
And it was just this week, right?
it was like Sunday, I think it was
Yeah.
earlier this week. Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
Yes. So see, everything is prelude to you coming on the
I
show.
know, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, I got to get this to Felicia real quick. So
Yes. And of course, so I was very elated to get the news. So I'm going to make sure I put that out there on my end as well. Again, like I said, once I upload everything and after the episode and everything is taken care of, it will be on the Unmuted podcast and on the Unmuted YouTube page. And I'll make sure I put the links in so they can read the press release, the Amazon link. Um, Send that. Did you send me that link? Because I got
I
my book from you.
yeah, no, I think I only sent it in a text. I will send it to you in email
Okay,
too.
if I have it in text, that's fine.
Okay.
I can move it over from there, but I'll make sure I put the links on there as well for those that may want to that are interested in the book. I'll put them on the I'll put it on the show as
Okay.
well. Pin it in the comments as well for anyone that comes back to watch the replay or whatnot. Traci, thank you so much for coming on. Um, how do you feel?
I feel good. I feel good. I've been wanting to do this with you, ever since I, really wrapped my mind around the idea and had a physical book in hand. You know,
Hmm.
it actually got finally published on my Aunt Netta's birthday. So I thought
Wow.
it was going to get published closer to January.
Hmm.
But of course, that was my first go at it. So I wasn't really sure. And the final publication date that I had a book physically in hand was on my auntie's birthday. So I felt good about that as well because, she's a big part of how this story came to be as well. Like I said,
Right.
the grief of losing both of them so close together, that's a big part of what prompted, the story. But yeah, I feel good. I think I was a little anxious to come on because, like you said, that could be a really emotional kind
Hmm.
of moment. I felt myself being kind of antsy
Hmm.
earlier today, you know. I
Hmm.
messed around and watched a movie that was really sentimental. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting turned into a big ball of tears. I got to pull myself together, you know. But um, I love talking about my mama. That's my girl.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm just blessed that she was my mama, you know. And when I feel too sad, I say, you know what, Lord, thank you for letting me have her for 49 and a half years, you know.
absolutely.
That's what I have to say to myself when I feel too sad about it, you know, and try to shake it off and keep stepping. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you're doing so well. I'm glad that you have things in place. Thankful for the babies in the family. Um, thankful for your baby Rory, someone that you can keep those traditions alive with personally and teach her all about Mary J, continuing that legacy with Immediate and the entire family for the work that you're doing and keeping the family name alive and because this really is keeping the family name alive. I mean,
mhm,
everything that you're doing and just pushing it out for the family because this is needed. This is really needed. It's really needed in your family, and you just don't know how many other families this could help because people have a hard time. Some people have a really hard time with grief and just hearing your story. You just never know. It may prompt someone else to channel their energy and their grief into something to keep the legacy alive of the ones that they lose.
I hope so.
Yes. I'm going to put you in queue and wrap up, so don't leave, okay?
Okay.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you all for tuning in again tonight. Tonight, we had our special guest on Traci, Traci Waters. She wrote the book, The Journey of Baby Angel. I'll make sure I put all of the links and everything in the comments, and it will be on YouTube and on the Unmuted podcast as well as some other things in her up and coming book as well. Tonight's topic was a mother's love, continuing a legacy. Life can be hard. Life is challenging. We all go through. We all suffer loss. Everyone copes in their own way. No one handles grief the same. Um, Tracy chose to continue the legacy of her mother, of the family, of everything that she instilled in them, and it challenged her, and it just really put a charge on her heart to write a book to keep that going. And that was one of the ways that she is keeping her mother's legacy alive and keeping that love of like a rose, keeping it vibrant instead of it withering away, um, even for the rest of the family. I want to challenge those of you because we've all suffered loss in our families. Instead of getting stuck in a state of grief, instead of getting stuck in the situation that we're in where we feel that we have no other reason for existence, that we can't go on, to dig deep in ourselves and realize that if we are still here, every day we woke up with a purpose. Let's find our purpose. If we need to talk to someone, find someone that you can talk to. Find a shoulder that you can lean on. Even if it's an accountability partner, if you need to find a therapist, if you need a counselor, reach out to me. We do have several different resources that we can provide for different counselors, different life coaches, but no one should deal with it alone. Even if you don't know where to start, because what we do know is everyone handles grief the same. Everyone does not handle grief the same, and even in that, no one can tell you how to grieve and how long you should grieve. That is a personal thing and how you heal, but we do want you to heal. We do want you to be made whole, and we do want you to have a peaceful life and protect your peace. I want to thank my guest for coming on and really talking to us about um, her journey in dealing with the loss of her mother, even still acknowledging her presence in their life, in their family's life, and how she's allowing this to even help her continue the legacy with her grandchildren and leaving a legacy for the rest of the family. Thank you all again for tuning in to season 4, episode number 4 of Unmuted. Today is 9/11. We did give a moment of silence for those that lost their lives in the attacks on September 11, 2001. Let's please be mindful, those that lost their lives protecting and serving our country, those that lost their lives in the senseless terrorist act. We still do keep those people in our hearts and in our minds. Thank you all again. I want you all to please be safe and have a wonderful night. This is Unmuted.